Hey everyone, welcome to my chess stream. It's International Master, at least they say that's what I am. William Paschall. Today we're going to be having a weird opening stream. It's blitz and rapid chess, 5+3 through 7+3. Every Wednesday I do this where I try to play stuff that's not in my normal repertoire, just for fun, mixing in some openings, you know, semi-sound openings. It doesn't have to be really bad stuff, but like for example, I might play the Dutch defense, something I never play, or the Budapest gambit, or other fun gambits like the classic Smith-Morra birds opening, you know, different kind of openings that I wouldn't normally play with my standard tournament repertoire. So we're just kind of having fun experimenting in the openings here for today's stream, and I'd like to welcome everyone. It's good that I'm feeling a little bit better. It feels like maybe I'm on the uptick here, health-wise. I've been fighting a cold for like over a week, so today seems a little bit better. And last night we had a good viewer tournament, which was really tough. 3 very strong players. I managed to finish 5th, but I'm not really fond of doing berserking and stuff. So I usually, without berserking, I'm usually kind of behind the 8 ball in the arena tournaments, but that's the only game in town. So welcome all you guys this morning. It's good to see our moderator. I don't see him in the chat, but he's challenging me. Soltigo 5+5. Mule Skinner is here. Awesome. So Mule Skinner, I was talking about you this week because you're one of the people who's played like the most amount of games against me, and I was hoping you'd be back. I think you got like 100 games, don't you? Happy New Year. You're one of only 2 players, I think, who has like 100 games played against me on the stream. Yeah, Soltiga, we've got to be quick, man. I know it's early in the morning there. Actually, it's good to know that you're with me here at 4 o'clock in the morning. But we got, you know, 1 troll shot down. Actually, I noticed that guy in my email list. I get an email of people who like followed me on Twitch. I was like, what? All right, troll in the roll, Soltigo, Mule Skinner. You guys are all. Troll has to wait now. He's not a subscriber anymore. Santa Claus didn't come yet. Another week in telephoning. What are you talking about? All right. So I'm gonna play Mule Skinner first. You know, Soltiga would probably want me to wait for his turn as usual. I'll play Mule Skinner. A long time since we played. And Ayesta. All right, and then we'll take Troll. I guarantee I'll play you Troll, but got to take these guys who are subscribed first. Mule Skinner, knight f3. Mule Skinner plays the French, guys. Check it out. 136 games I played against Mule Skinner. Goddess Troll, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Another week in telephoning. Tired of growing. Is this some song or something? Oh, it's some song. All right, I was like taking it literally. He's singing song lyrics. I hate pop music, Troll. I don't know about you, but that's one thing. Even, I think I hate it more than country music. All right, Bishop G2, Knight F6. There are some country artists that I like, you know, some really good ones like Johnny Cash. But pop music is. I grew up in the 80s, and we had a lot of really bad pop music even back then. This is an interesting position. I like this move order for black. A lot of professionals play this. You can't really play a reverse Grunfeld with d4, but it is playable. It's just not a Grunfeld because he doesn't have a knight on c3. It's weird. Like d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, e5. Black plays the e pawn forward, you know, a second move. But I think I'm going to go with c4. This is basically my repertoire. It's deep purple. Okay, I'll forgive you. Speaking of the 80s, I remember the guys in my high school who had like deep purple t-shirts. All right. A little too, like, heavy metal for me. Good morning. Anyway, happy New Year to my opponent Mule Skinner, and I'm glad you're still with us. You're holding the record now. Constant Change had like 100 games, and Mule Skinner has 137 after this one. We should definitely keep track. So c4, and black has a whole bunch of moves here. You know, I've faced or seen games with d4. I always thought d4 is kind of weird because your pawns are like segmented. You've got one structure on f7, one structure on, you know, c5, d4, f7, e6, and c5, d4. The problem with this is that you end up in a Tarash. Now you better, you know, if you play the Tarash, that's fine. If you don't play the Tarash, then you're getting transposed into an opening you don't play. The really killer move is knight takes d5. Mihai Suba laments about the semi-Tarash. Recently in my last tournament, though, Laszlo Ganda won a really impressive game against Albert Bukrosh in the GM tournament I played a couple of weeks ago. This position, like, looked like Ganda had nothing. There was a bunch of pieces exchanged off the board, but White had the bishop on g2, like cutting across the long diagonal. Absolutely symmetrical. I was just like, oh, it's just a draw. But then, like, when you look at it, black was just lost. Oh, guys, on another note, I need to send out an email for the confirmation of tomorrow night's. We send an email message to our subscribers. So I've got to remind myself about that. Subscriber stream tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. Why does White castle long in the Sicilian? It says Wojlacov or Klov. Wojlacov, I don't know. Why does White castle long in the Sicilian? Okay, I'm about to begin a video series for chesslecture.com where I'm going to be talking about creating imbalance. You know, one way to avoid draws and to win more games is by intentionally doing some things that imbalance the game and make it sharper. And one of the things you can do to do that, and the easiest thing you can do probably, one of the easiest things you can do, is to castle on opposite sides as your opponent. Therefore you can throw pawns at the other side. The game becomes very, very sharp. That's why White castles queenside. Because he has the first move, imbalancing the game is likely good. Okay, here now Mule Skinner played c4. I was busy answering a question. I didn't really comment on this move. I'm not sure that my routine knight c3 is necessarily best. It's certainly not bad. We're going to transpose to my game with Selim Chitak. It's like a Turkish FM or IM. I think he's an FM. Gladys Troll says we've got 114 games. Well, you still have access to the other account? What about, how good is Arsenal fan, FIDE rating level wise? I would put him at around FIDE. I mean, I think he's around like, I think he's pushing 1900. I don't know. He can play really, really well, but he is inconsistent. So maybe 1850. He doesn't have a FIDE rating as far as I know. But as a late starter, I think he's very inconsistent. 1 minute he seems to play like 2200. The next minute he blunders like he's, you know, 1550. So it's really hard to get a read on someone like that. You know, I think that it would balance out to something like 1850. He can play really well, but again, he has tendencies to blunder. Like a lot of players who learn as adults. Hey Railbird, what's up? So, this is an unusual move. Bishop g4, but I'm not sure it's good. I just play h3, I force him to give up this bishop, and then he might just be losing the d5 pawn. There is one tiny problem here. Actually, I can take with the queen on f3, I just realized. The general rule is to take back, you know, in most default cases with a smaller piece, to go forward with the smaller pieces. So I like think about bishop takes, but queen takes actually develops a piece, and it puts increased pressure on. Good move, man, only move. Bishop e6. And then, in a sense, he forced me to weaken my structure with h3. Maybe it's not the end of the world. I'm not sure. My e3 is actually a very infrequent line. But, I mean, in the few games that it's been played, white has a very good score. Against Salim Chitak, the guy I played in this line, I mean, he played the main line, like, I guess, e3, bishop e6, something like that. I'm not sure I played e3 against him. I probably played knight e5 first, and then bishop e6, which is a game that that's the main line, to go knight e5. Ironically, I ran into the guy at the European Poker Tour 2 years ago. We played in the chess and poker tournament, and that was a draw as well. Rapid chess. All right. This is the plan to break the pawn structure. Nimzovich said you're supposed to attack pawn structure at the base rather than at the head of the pawn chain. But in this case, it's very hard for me to attack the base of the pawn chain. I'm trying, but I don't have an easy way to put pressure on d5. So I'm basically reduced to attacking his pawn chain from the front, or the head of the pawn chain at c4. Was h3 really necessary? Well, yeah, I wasn't really happy with that pin of my knight on f3, but you might be able to do without it. It is possible. It's just that, for example, what I don't like after bishop g4, if I don't play h3, he might like land a knight on e4, and I won't be able to take it because of knight takes e4, pawn takes e4, and my knight on f3 is pinned to my queen. So I'm not a big fan of weakening my queen, my pawn structure like h3. But it might be a good prophylactic move, and also I can always defend it with king h2. I didn't want the knight to land on e4. That's the big problem. Like right now, he could play something like knight e4 effectively, which would be very, very disruptive to my position. You had no idea there were events that combined chess and poker together. I'm not sure if they still exist. This was going on for a little while. The Isle of Man had, they were having some poker tournament alongside with the chess tournaments for a few years. But it's not exactly a common theme, no, Railbird. They were rather rare. But just at this one, EPT stop, as far as I know, just in Prague. Also, if you go to the Czech Republic for the yearly games festival in Pardubice, you can also play chess and poker. 2 years in a row, I was bubbled basically in the chess poker at EPT. I was pretty pissed about it. I should have at least made the money in one or two, probably won one of them, but instead I got busted with bad beats 2 years in a row. All right. That's the way it goes. 100 tournaments in a row, you can do that. Queen a5. Yeah, that's a troublesome move. You know, this is stirring up an issue with my knight on c3. Another thing about, I said, well, should my knight be on c3? I could go into a long lecture about this, but we just simply don't have time. In the Panov-Botvinnik system of the Caro-Kann, black sometimes has a knight on b8, sometimes it's on c6 in this type of structure. And when it's on b1, it actually is sort of better oftentimes. Here it's a target. So I was thinking queen d2, but that walks into bishop b4. That's going to be a problem, unfortunately. But I don't think we're in any danger here. Once again, however, I am a little concerned about the old We can always do bishop takes f6 though. Maybe that's the secret here. Throw this in first so he doesn't have bishop b4. He can play g takes f, which, believe it or not, happens in this type of Swedish variation with c4. Yeah, so I've had the game with Chitak, and before that I had a game with Alan Bennett, who was a FIDE master in USA in this type of variation, once in the New England Open. When I won the New England Open, I think in 1995, it was a variation like this. You know, I'm a little concerned about him getting in b5 now. Wonder if I could play rook c1 here. Should I? What should I do? Damn. I don't know the best way to do this. He has b5. Probably queen d2 isn't any better or worse than like rook c1. I don't know. This isn't working out right. Man, I guess it doesn't help to play. Bishop takes f6 didn't help me enough. His bishop is actually dangerous on this diagonal as well. I mean, I know what I'm going to do, like a3 or something weird. I mean, I can mess up his pawn structure. No, can't even do that. Knight takes d5 doesn't work. Like, nothing works. This is just a stopgap to stop him from rolling me and getting a protected passed pawn. But it doesn't solve all my problems. Alright, we've got 26 seconds to his minute. 3-second increments, though, is usually enough. I'm not happy with the result of this opening. It's my first game of the day. Knight a4 was much better. What? Yeah, I'm surprised he took there, but I guess he has an idea. Okay. Knight a4, didn't see when you're talking about. I could do that. But I think Bill Skinner just, okay, knight takes b5 is not necessarily good. Knight takes b5, queen b8, rook takes b3, and I lose a piece. Damn. I really would have liked to have played knight takes b5, but I can't do it. So, what am I going to do? Oh no. Damn, we had a moment of peace and now we're in trouble again. Just committed suicide, it looks like. Wow, that was a calm move. He just totally just played bishop e7. Brilliant. This is not going well. Losing my queen side. Masterful game by black. It's just a total disaster. Man, he just keeps coming up with moves. What? playing really tough here. Yeah, he just lost on time, but he's made some small inaccuracies, but he's winning. I mean, I'm down a pawn. I think he's winning. Maybe not winning, but yeah, he's up the exchange. I forgot I'm down the exchange. Okay. I don't really count material in the traditional way when I'm playing. So yeah, I'm just totally lost. I thought I had some counterplay, but it was never enough. That was a nice game, Yul Skinner, man. First time in a long time. Let's check out the opening. I don't even like knight c3, but apparently it's the main move. You know, I think that we might go with the b3 immediately. I think this is a little bit more accurate. Everybody just automatically plays knight to c3, but if you look at Stockfish, it immediately wants to go with b3. I think there's something more accurate about that move. Instead of queen d2, knight a4. We can see. But let's see anyway. So e3, bishop g4. That's a very subtle move. h3, bishop e6. Apparently I should play like knight e5 here, transposing to normal lines. Okay, so I tried the b3. Stockfish didn't like it at first. This queen a5 is strong. So apparently I'm better off playing knight e2. Not knight a4, but knight e2. We can kind of move toward the king side with maneuvers based on knight f4. Alright. Once I played bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, it looks like I lost my advantage. And now queen d2 was also not the best. Anike was suggesting knight a4, but it's not really good. I mean, he could do like he did in the game where he comes back here and hits c5. The knight's out on the side of the board. If I'm going to go anywhere, probably I should go to e2 and head for f4, where I put pressure on this. So I was actually okay. I thought he misplayed it with b5 and then a3. C takes b3 was a mistake. You don't need to do that. But it ended up looking great for black. Rook f b1, a6. Queen c7 was a weird move. You know, there's no need for him to retreat his queen here. But he wanted to free up the a5 square. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it is a good move. I don't know. Queen c7 and then rook takes, and he's in there with a6. I couldn't take with the knight on b5 because it's really weird. My knight has no retreat squares after like queen b8. I can't take the pawn on b3. Maybe that would have been like a lesser of the evils though, wouldn't it? I don't know. Anyway, guys, good game. Good game, Yul Skinner. Looking good. So usually when you didn't play for a while, you came back and you were struggling, but it looks like you're pretty sharp. All right, Troll on a Roll, Soltigo, and Ayesta. I'm going to play Ayesta, and then I'm going to take Troll on a Roll and Soltigo. Just to spot ask you to unban him. This is a former mod banned him in contempt. Oh, Jesus. Well, I guess in the spirit of the new year, I should think about it. But he also sent me like a nasty message, dude, so I really don't think that's gonna happen. I guess he doesn't remember sending me nasty message. But you can go ahead and unban him if you want to, Soltigo. In the spirit of goodwill and peace unto men, or whatever it is. All right. But I don't like his attitude, really. I should have thought about maybe playing like d4 and bishop g5, but I don't think it works so well with the fianchetto on g2. d4 c5. Yeah, I think this is sort of lame for white. I should have paid closer attention to the move order. Anyway, I'm the one that suggested knight f3, b5, and I forgot I'm playing Weird Wednesday. Alright, thank you for picking up the slack, Ayesta. I got distracted. In the first game, I played a totally normal opening against Mule Skinner. Nobody said anything that I saw in the chat. Hey, Dark Piece. What's up, man? Thank you for subscribing. Never mind. Thank you for subscribing. I just totally forget whenever I do one of these Weird Wednesday streams that I'm supposed to play unusual openings when the stream starts. And everybody gets into the game and like we forget the theme. Against Mule Skinner, I played like a totally normal opening. Here, luckily, Ayesta picked up the slack and played b5 on move 1, which is something that I've played. And since I'm not fully awake, I played a kind of lame setup here. I guess white has a small edge. You know, we could play... well, actually, the engine always plays this. What if we go the engine style, like bishop e3? There was a guy who played against me who I thought was an engine. He says that for everybody. No, but seriously, there was this one game I remembered with like bishop e3, playing black in this type of position. I just felt very uncomfortable. It's like a Carlsen-Grunfeld move. You again request no castling. Okay, Gladys Troll. I didn't notice you the last time you requested no castling, but it's a good idea to ask me twice because I've never taken a no castling request, and it sounds kind of like a cool idea. I was earlier talking about like, you know, ways to imbalance the game, and I'm going to do some videos for that that topic on chesslecture.com, and it was just like, what are the different ways you can imbalance a game, you know? Sacrificing material, making imbalancing exchanges, like, I don't know, queen for 2 rooks or bishop for knight or whatever. Sacrificing, as I said, the material like an exchange, doubling the pawns, changing the pawn structure, making imbalancing pawn exchanges, and of course, as I said earlier, castling opposite sides. Someone asked about queenside castling. So no castling or leaving the king in the center is, you request it every time, at Wednesdays at least. So you want to play Chess 960 sans castling. Old school rules. Like in the original form of chess, right, there was supposed to be no castling. Alright, now this is getting interesting. Knight e3 is the threat. But I could let you take and build up my center in that kind of position. Huh. Alright. Do I really like that though? I'm just like doing this. Moving my bishop is also perfectly plausible. Alright. Interesting game. I think bishop d2 is a little bit lame. I should probably play a different move. Wow, he's just going back. Huh. Well, why not? I guess I can play like bishop g5 now. Catalan style. I'm just making up, changing my plan randomly every move. It's not really a good way to play chess. We can get away with it in like blitz chess, but okay, it's kind of a bad bishop, and I don't mind making this exchange. Again, also common in the Catalan. And black is behind in development, and I'm just approaching this position because in a way, like, I've played with black this type of setup quite a bit, so I can just kind of think about like what makes me uncomfortable when I'm black, and try to inflict that on black here. I know that I don't like falling behind in development in these type of positions with black. I know I don't like, you know, things like my queen being in an awkward square. But nevertheless, I don't think there's anything drastically wrong with black's position. Knight c3, b4 looks like he can get away with. So we can just play a solid move here, c3. It's very slow though. I don't know. Alright, Troll, I'll try to agree by your rules. Try to agree by your rules so not castling in Chess 960. Selling off my dark square bishop might be a little bit much here. Knight c3, I was thinking b4, knight b5, and then queen d8 he can play. But that's okay for me. Alright, I think this has got to be the way to go. It took me forever to find this move. Then he'll just simply play a6 probably, but you know, a6 does cost him some time, and I can play... It looks like I can play d5 maybe. Very consistent maybe answer. I think we have to play sharply here, trying to exploit our lead in development. Whoop. You're not talking about chess 960, you request for normal chess. Alright. Just for today, just for the Weird Wednesday, I'll promise to do it. So against Troll on a Roll, we're going to play... What are we going to play today, though? We're going to play chess 960 anyway. We'll discuss it on a case-by-case basis, Troll. You're going to have to remind me. But I'll play by your rules, if you want. Alright. Anyway, guys, welcome to the stream. I'm supposed to be playing unusual openings, but whenever I start the stream, I always forget. Now, we could play d5. That's probably a big question. e4 was my first idea, then I started having serious doubts about it. I think that e4 is just kind of lame. It looks like my center is getting overextended, and I have no real threats. d5 is more imposing, but he can try to win a pawn with b4, knight e4. d5, excuse me. d5, b4, knight e4, queen takes b2, and I'm not sure I have any compensation. Let's see, rook b1. Just looks like I'm getting overextended. Rook e1. My knight goes to a4. I guess we'll just try to develop the pieces we've got. Gold Eaglet. A question is, how do you think each variant of chess helps a player improve in standard chess? I don't know about the variants, man. I mean, I think that chess 960 does for sure. But I'm not going to make any claims about other variants of chess improving. And I'm certainly not really expert enough in any other variants to make a comment on that. Yeah, man, I just have nothing here. Maybe less than nothing. I guess I'll trade the queens. I think we have less than nothing with white. Because he's going to play bishop b4 and mess up my pawn structure. Maybe it's not so simple. I do have a4 there. So we both have an imbalancing idea. a4 and bishop b4. I may be okay here. I'm probably not worse. I have to play this. Maybe I'm worse anyway. I don't think so. I mean, I have an awful lot of development. And we're going to wreck his queenside island. So we're probably okay, but I don't think I'm better. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, just the a-pawn. And I'm going to have a concrete weakness on c3. So I guess it's close, but I could drift into a worse ending, actually, very easily here. We already lost one game. Well, I didn't lose, but I should have lost. Tomorrow night is my subscriber stream. That's 7 p.m. Thursday night. I do a game analysis with subscribers. And occasionally with some guests. White seems better here. I don't think so. Maybe there's something for me. I'm really, really not happy with my pawn structure, man. But then again, his knight isn't developed at all. But there's a very fine line in this position. You know, there just aren't a lot of pieces left on the board. I mean, static weaknesses like these double isolani pawns. King e7 is absolutely good. You know, it's very hard to generate any kind of tactics for me. I didn't even calculate this properly. Okay, rook b6 is a stupid move. I guess I just have to make a... I should make a passive move just defending my c-pawn. But I'm an idiot, and I just gave it to him. Rook b6 doesn't even do anything. Now I'm like reduced to fighting for a draw. Still early in the morning here. Well, okay, luckily he just took knight c6 as a decision. This should be a draw now. You play rook takes c3, I think you're better. Now he can also play knight e5 there. Playing for a win down a pawn. I don't know. But this is clearly a draw. I mean, I wonder how bad it is. I shouldn't give him the pawn. You know, here, this is stupid. So, according to Stockfish, if I don't make this stupid rook b6 move, I'm only infinitesimally worse. Knight b5? What does knight b5 do? You know, I have this idea of knight b5, but it just puts my knight out there, hanging it out to dry. It doesn't seem to do anything. I just wasn't thinking. I actually just spaced when I played rook b6, like forgetting he could take the pawn. I meant to play something, you know, I don't know, defending the pawn, c4 or one of these awkward rook moves. And I'm probably drawing, but it's, if anybody can win, it's black here because he has a better structure. Because Ayesta, yeah, thanks for the game, man. Good game. But this is the first time, Ayesta, I've ever seen you play anything like, you know, the Polish. I'm just curious about the opening. So they're giving me bishop d2. The computer is giving me bishop d2 question mark. So apparently bishop e3, my move, this engine move, which I, you know, have seen a couple times, is good. I could have played bishop g5 in this position. It's good for me. I didn't appreciate how strong that is. Good to know about. Alright, otherwise, like a really good game by Black. Stream is lagging a lot for you now? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's something from my end. I think it's probably just general lag. Alright, I'm going to play Troll and a Roll in Soltigo. Troll and a Roll made me promise not to castle. That's cool. It's a new variant. So Ken Bone asked, how long have I been playing chess? I started 30 years ago. 30 years. Longer than that, actually. I started chess pretty late when I was like 12 years old. 11 or 12. 12 probably, I don't remember. So I wasn't a child prodigy. I never played in scholastic tournaments. And I only started playing in adult tournaments when I was like, I guess, yeah, like around 12. So over 30 years, let's just put it that way. And that's enough time to develop a good sense of intuition. And I've worked a lot on the game, but I took some years off, like recently. I wasn't playing between 2009 and 2015, hardly at all. So that's really affected me, actually. I'm only realizing now you know, how much like this layoff of not playing seriously for 6 years really affected me. I thought, oh no, it's no big deal. You know, I played some blitz online, and I played like a handful of tournament, you know, team games in those years. And I thought, okay, you know, what can happen? But it just doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like I'm back to where I was. I thought I would be after coming back for like 2 years, but it still just feels like my strength is not the same as it was chess-wise before the layoff. I thought it would be okay, like 1 year and I'll be back to where I was, but it's not really the same. I think for me personally, it really, being strong in chess is a lot about just playing a lot. For me, at least. It may not be the same for everyone, but I needed to play a lot. And when I did play a lot, when I was really active, playing like 100 games a year, then I was playing well. This is a weird piece setup, and I just don't really like where anything is. Yeah, I think that the lag is probably, you know, either on the site or on your end. I didn't notice. Troll and a roll, you know, please refrain from the religious sentiments on my, I try to be non-denominational here. Why 666? Is this number 666? No, it's number 153. There's only 3. Yeah, no, there's a 666. What is position 666? I don't know why he's announcing 666 for position 153. I thought there was some significance to that. But we try to be non-denominational, politically and religiously here on the stream. Knight C2. It feels like a knight A3 Sicilian. I don't mind my rook here. That could be, well, what's up with the arrows in my mouse? I gotta remember not to castle. And normally I don't do the Chess 960 games on the weird Wednesday stream, but I'm making an exception for Troll. Whatever. Whatever, man. We'll just do whatever you want. His rating is 1666. Ah, now I understand. I need another coffee. His rating is always 166. It's been like the same rating for 2 months now or something. So Troll claims that he has over 100 games, and I'm sure he's right. We played 50 games here on this account, and he had another account which probably had even more. So he's definitely in the top 4 of players who's like got 100 games played against me on my stream. Thank you for figuring it out, Silly Turtle. It's very deep. I couldn't understand. I'm looking at the other number there. So, the satanic number. D6. Yeah, this is very exciting. I mean, my problem with Chess 960 is that it always ends up the same thing. Like, every game is this closed thing, where it's very hard to get the pieces out. You know, when you first look at the chessboard, you're thinking like, oh, I guess some dude just randomly decided like which squares to put the pieces on, you know, in normal chess. But I guess the truth is that that's not the case, you know. I'm going to play like super slow. With D4, probably playable. I was a little concerned that I'm asking too much of my lame setup. You did not demand it for this particular game, dude. You said for all games. I quote you. You're like, I want, you know, you were like for all games. I'm assuming that's what you said. I may have the memory of a politician or something, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you did make that statement when I asked you to qualify. Like you said, yeah, for all games. But I'll make you swear under oath. That's what you said. This is so creepy crawly development, man. The tactician is just having a field day here. Yeah, he can go for F5, you know, take the initiative with the pawn break. There it is. You can play the Spassky F3. Spassky-esque. I wonder, you know, f4. This is one of the reasons why I kind of like his setup. He can get this bishop out here. And the white squares could really get loose. No, that's why I was thinking like d4 may not be that appealing to me. Troll is going to like lose on time. I can speed it up a little bit more. But f4, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, queen takes queen, king takes queen, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. That's interesting. What if we go with the f4? Symmetrical defense. Who's got the better development here? It's so weird. But I don't know. I'm not that into the chess 960. It always starts too slow, you know. Now Gold Eagle makes a point that chess 960 can be very tactical. Yeah, definitely. I guess I'm not striving to achieve that enough, but it seems like you have to kind of really go out of your way to make that happen, Golden Eaglet. There are definitely some weird, strange things that can happen. I think I'm probably losing material there. And I think I'm in trouble irregardless. Wonder if I should go to g1, or does that just make it worse? At least here my rook can move. But I'm feeling like this is just bad for me. Troll's play in the opening in chess 960 is much better than mine. I mean, I usually like trick him or kind of outplay him later on, but almost in every case, like across the board, out of the opening part, you know, he's got the better of me. If he takes on d3, I take on d6. He takes on c2, I take on e7. He queens a queen on b1, capturing a rook. So I have to like recapture on d3, which really pretty much sucks. And all the problems start to revolve around that. I think black is just better here. You hope it becomes much more popular? Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, how does chess 960 rank with the other variants on lichess in popularity? I mean, probably pretty low, I would think. Okay, for general people, you know, who don't play much at all, variants, probably they'll be more attracted to it than others, but I was thinking about not taking back here, but I'll just be down 2 pawns if I do that. This is pretty catastrophic. I can't castle. Troll, you lied, man. You castled. Troll lied. Dude, didn't he say that he wanted not castling in this game? Now and then he like contradicted himself and said like, then he said like, no, he didn't mean for this game. Okay. I'm confused because I thought you said for all games. But we'll have to get like the court, you know, record, you know, taken out of the filing cabinet, and we'll have to read the stream later on. Can someone verify the Troll said for every game? You see castled, I just realized. I don't know, man. You don't want to play Monopoly with Troll, something like that. So he missed bishop g6 after all that. I mean, this is the entire point, that he has bishop g6. This is actually the reason why I didn't even want to play d4. If you go back to like move 4, I was sitting there thinking like, well, I see the writing on the wall, like something like this can happen in this, bishop g6, and that diagonal feels uncomfortable to me. So right from the get-go, I was kind of like already thinking about that diagonal, but he just didn't play bishop g6. Now it's possible that there's danger for me to take this pawn. I mean, because my king is obviously on the line, but he's got so many pieces in the way that may just not matter. You know, my knight actually looks pretty strong there. So I'm going to take it, and I've got control of g6. Maybe I'm still toast. I'm like, I've been suckered into taking this pawn. But otherwise I'm just down a clear pawn. Though I could probably play knight e3 it's not such a bad pawn to be down. But knight takes e5 is pretty lazy. I was expecting knight g6. I'm going to get sliced and diced here. I better not exchange pieces. This is still really, really bad for me. I have to reset all my pieces. Look at his pieces are going to come out and just strafe the board. So this bishops are looking brutal. I'm clearly close to lost here. So he come up with bishop g6. He sort of tricked me. Rook c1, knight c4 looks pretty grotesque. I have to go rook a1. This is also grotesque, but at least I don't lose immediately. Every one of his pieces is going to come down on me like a brick. We're resetting all the pieces for the next game. That's what they said against. That's what they said about Karpov in one of his games against Kasparov. He was just actually literally like retreating every piece to the back rank. At least Troll might like just lose on time. But I'm pretty much in trouble in every game I play today. It's an excellent move. We got to go here. And we've barely got a pulse in this position. But I can play bishop b3. No castling allowed, Troll. It was your idea, and then you like castled and crushed me with it. I request it any time, every time. See, you just do anything to win. We're getting out of the trouble now. He lost on time. I'm almost okay. Even here, he's clearly better. Shit. I thought I was okay finally, but look at this. He's so developed that I'm still clearly worse. After 95. This is just a devastating shot. He's basically like winning. I would imagine like best case scenario, I'm just like losing a clear pawn with a disadvantage. Like we would say compensation for his material, you know. He's gonna win a pawn and he's gonna have compensation for his material. No, this was like a really well played game, but the castling thing wasn't fair. I make a complaint, a formal complaint. Alright, Soltigo Justice Bot. No, Justice Bot is in the chat. Juicebox Wizard. Juicebox Wizard also starts with a J. Manduk, Nicola, and World Loser. World Loser, you know, I want to give him a favorable treatment because he was our former moderator. But he's not a subscriber currently. He's in a limbo state. Anyway, Soltigo is up next. He's a subscriber and our moderator. Aniket, good call, man. Coordinating pieces in chess 960 is the key. I agree completely. I mean, it definitely, you know, it definitely is the #1 theme in chess 960. Now, I'm supposed to be playing unusual openings, and I totally haven't had a chance to really do that. We had a game where we were white against Ayeste in a Polish defense. But Gladys Troll's theory is that the key is the first 3 moves. But I strongly recommend you take your like 45 extra seconds or whatever on move 1 when you're playing chess 960. So here we have a couple of different options. To transpose to the English is probably the main one. I've also experimented a bit with this reversed Scandinavian. I think this is a reasonable way to play with white. I saw a few Grandmaster games where some experimental souls did this. Maybe Karadzica I might have seen a game from him. Looks like something, you know, Tivyakov would like. The reversed Queen D3. I've had a game or two with this setup. If you really like the Scandinavian, why not play it with white too? That's the idea. But anyway, troll, bending the rules for you, playing chess 960 on Wednesday, first of all. And secondly, agreed to castling and then you, no castling and then you castle. You like bluff tricked me out. And then castling was like the most devastating move you played against me. Alright, so now he's not attacking my queen, you know, with knight c6. Just leaving it out there. I don't know what the best way to develop is. But maybe I should play bishop g5, just getting it outside the pawn chain. But I'd like to play a setup where a3 actually makes some sense. I think that's a relatively important concept here. I mean, a3 makes some sense to keep a knight off of b4. That's a very basic idea. I forgot I'm playing Soltigo. Okay. I like to think about who I'm playing and try to take their personal preferences into consideration. Maybe I could castle queenside. But he's playing a very solid looking setup here. Knight c3, c5. Knight c3, c5. And then d5. He could try to get those pawns rolling down the center. But what else can I do? I mean, e4 looks risky. Today's theme move is a3. Did I play a3 in the other game? I didn't play a3 against Ayesta. He just followed my advice and played c5. Okay. This is similar to knight f3 against the Scandinavian lines. Well, it's basically the same thing, similar. I mean, okay, it's the same thing. So I guess queen f4 is the main square. Queen f5 is supposed to be the best square, from my experience, in those knight f3 Scandinavian lines. Some of them put it on h4, sometimes they go to like d1, but I think this is the best. It's active, but it's not that easy to attack it there effectively. You want the king on the second rank and double pawns in front of him. What are you talking about? Gladys Troll, I'm talking about no castling in normal chess. Yeah, that's logical. But it's still... Your comment still was very misleading. Maybe it wasn't intentional. But I thought you meant in chess 962. I think we must play this. There is a problem here. Well, there's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that I have an extra tempo. The bad thing is that my extra tempo is a3. Once I play queen f4, I'm committed to castling queenside, I think. But I don't think that I like a3 in this type of position. I think it just makes it easier for him to open my king position, and it doesn't really have a function. I mean, as I said earlier, knight b4 is something that would attack a queen on d3 or something like that. That's a different theme. You know, here I just don't think this move is relevant. It's an extra move that's probably negative. If we talk about, you know, if we use a poker term to describe like the strength of our position, we say like our, you know, expected value or whatever of our position, a statistical term. Expected value of white's position is negative because of a3. This move is actually hurting me rather than helping. But I don't know. I'm not sure if he's right to play d4 here. He may have just overextended himself. I'm going to pause. Basman didn't know Fischer was going to invent chess 960. Whoa, we've got the queen sacrifice. Awesome. Soltigo loves to sacrifice his queen. And now we have to consider the classic hiding behind the pawn idea. Using the opponent's pawn as a shield. Worth considering here. However, I'm concerned. I would be concerned about knight d5, knight into c3 with devastating effect. But I still think it's probably best to take it. Speculative queen sacrifice by black. Playable, but I doubt it's the best move. However, like, maybe after d4, if he's, if his alternative is just lose a pawn for nothing, then sacking the queen is definitely better. If that's his alternative here, I mean, just to lose this pawn, then he's done the right thing. He's got enough material. He's got a piece, a rook, and a pawn. No, he doesn't have a pawn. Okay, he doesn't have enough material. So never mind. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather do this than just lose a pawn for nothing. All right, what can I do now to try to generate some chances here? Bishop d3 or bishop c4. Bishop d3 seems logical. Counter queen sacrifice. Knight d5, bishop takes e7, knight takes f4, bishop takes d8. With the pawn up, what am I talking about? I'm going to get with the program now, okay? It is even material with the pawns, so he doesn't have a pawn for it. If I sack my queen back, it's equal material. Knight d5, bishop takes e7, knight takes f4, bishop takes d8, knight takes g2, rook g1, bishop g4, knight e5, bishop h3. I had a plan, but I forgot what it was. Okay. Like, we gotta be quick. Go about our business quickly here. Because if I let him settle in, he could get a very nasty initiative going on. Black is dead. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's that easy. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right if black is playing a computer, but I'm not. h4, interesting. You got to admit that h4 is... You got to say to yourself, if ancient aliens really intended us to play chess, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, e5, or h4. Screw it. I don't have time to create complications. I think that's good practical advice. Don't complicate when you have less time. He almost has tactics here, but I'm not sure they work. I think that dead is an exaggeration. I mean, I was theoretically dead against you, Troll, but you lost on time. Yesterday I was dead against Nefedov in a dragon, but he played some inferior moves and offered to draw in a winning position. But if you define dead as like plus 1.5 pawns or something, then I agree he's probably dead. But in practice, that's not usually the case. I mean, I'm looking for, using the pieces I've got here, h4, queen e4, and some kingside threats. But it's not going to be that easy. I think all I've done is kind of stabilize the situation at this point. Making progress is another question. You know, maybe I do have something like bishop c4. Trading pieces is probably good. I have bishop c4. See, I was always concentrating on queen e4 all the time, but he just plays g6 and then he's threatening the nasty bishop f5. Well, maybe not a big deal. What? I must have missed something. Oh. Wow. Is this a good move? Maybe it's a bad move. Maybe it's just a stupid move. That's a stupid move. I was freaking out on time pressure. Now I did it to myself. Alright. It's not the end of the world. I can still play bishop e2. Whoa. I don't know. Alright. He's got some counterplay, admittedly. I'd gladly sacrifice my queen back if I had to. I'm sure that he had absolutely positive chances here. I think now we've got him. Just trading material. Well, he lost too much material. He sacrificed that extra piece. That was a lot to give up. But another interesting game to analyze. He had huge chances, I think. How bad did this get? You know, I'm curious. I may have been lost at some point tactically. If you guys want to contact me during the game, just send me a message on Twitch. I don't really like to open my messages and see the nasty messages I'm getting on lichess. All right, so. Yeah, the engine just wants to play like queen d3 or queen d2 here. Maybe with a3 and I should change the setup. So bishop e6 developing in the style of those normal knight f3 lines. You usually see bishop e6 and knight d7 in the reverse of this position. That's the standard setup. And if I hadn't played a3, I wouldn't be slightly worse. That's basically the gist of this. You know, this a3 move, move 1, makes my position stupid. All right, I'm gonna play World Loser, and then we'll take the rest of the challenges. So it wasn't quite sound for black, but nice try. Typical Soltigo. He tries to be creative. World Loser's up to 2235. He may have not been here because, like, he's down in the list. I took him first because he's my old moderator. Okay, he is here. He probably wasn't expecting to play right away. Alright, I'm supposed to play unusual openings. Now, the Dutch may not seem like an unusual opening, and it may in fact not be one, but for me it is, because I never play the Dutch. This definitely counts as an unusual opening. I always wanted to play the Dutch. Let's try something really weird. I was gonna say the whatever this is called. The whatever this is called. Okay, now I'm not interested in that pawn. It's sort of a Larsonian. This is a Larsonian opening for black. I don't mind sacrificing a pawn. Wow. World loser just thinking on d7. I guess I could trade queens and still have some compensation. That's a good question. To take with the queen or take with the bishop? I want my knight to go to c6. There's no question. You may think it's strange to trade queens, but in my mind, my compensation is independent of I'm not saying I have enough compensation, but the compensation I do have is independent of whether the queens are on the board or not. I think my compensation is like a really good control of the center. That's hard to really take away from me, and like a slight lead in development. And I don't think that's dependent here on whether queens are on the board or not. I think I would probably, if I were him, prefer to take on d7 than letting me take on d1. Because he loses a little bit of time here. That's your King of the Hill opening? Gladys Troll, you can't demand no castling for other people's games. Now, I've got to be able to castle, man. The other people are castling. This opening just went downhill after 5 moves. For who? Sorry guys, I had to pause the mute pause the mute button. I'm almost getting better from my cold finally. I think we're on the upswing. Yeah, Arsenal fan, I feel your pain, man. Arsenal fan is, but let me tell you a secret. Like, we can put these bishops on the long diagonals. That would be sweet, huh? Like if we could go like g6, put these guys on the long diagonals. We don't have to put them in like e6 and d6. I mean, we might be able to put our bishops on the long diagonals. But in this case, I think it's a little slow. It might be a little too slow. They can reach the long diagonals from other dimensions. Knight e3, wow. I mean, g6 is really, I like it. Or loser seems disoriented. He doesn't want to play knight. He doesn't want to allow knight d4. But I guess it's not so bad. He's wasted so much time with that defensive maneuver. Playing for the initiative at the cost of a pawn. I was thinking bishop e6. I mean, it's basically like a Leningrad. We could go for the long diagonal again. I think that's fine too. Just for Rich, raising the question of he doesn't like our bishop's future with the pawns at c5 and f5. We're doing this just for you. We're gonna put our bishops on the long diagonals and take things. That's what my friend used to say. Oh, bishop f4. Now he's making me want to put my bishop here. Interesting. b3 has been called. But now he's oh, he's got that. Let's see, knight c3. I'm always going to have compensation here. He's going to trade it off with bishop e2. Knight c3 is interesting. And then I can just castle the following move. but I'm not sure if that's even good. Knight c3, rook c1, unfortunately. And then castles. He has time for something like... There's also like bishop c3 check. Pawn, the bishop takes, knight takes, rook somewhere. I don't know. Should I take on b2? He is trading a piece off. That kind of neutralizes my initiative a little bit. I'm not sure the best way to do this. We have compensation of some kind. I'm not sure how much it is, if it's enough for a full pawn. But this way I also have like f4, trying to break through. With my rook is developed, essentially. Sorry, troll. Castling is allowed. Sorry to break your rules, dude. Nicholas 73. Neocitron. I had Neocitron last night. I've had a cold for like a week, man. I have everything going on. I had the NyQuil, but ran out of that. American cold medicine, and now I'm onto the European style remedies. The Neocitron does work pretty well. We've got everything, we've got everything developed as much as we could. And now start applying pressure. F4 is logical. Knight c3 is also possible. I think this move makes sense. There are other moves too. I might be able to play knight to b4. Fix a pawn on b4 and like use the c3 outpost square. Knight c3 is tempting. Knight b4 is tempting, as I was saying before. I don't know. He's got me in time pressure. It's kind of a weird decision playing knight b4, because I am allowing quite a bit of simplification. But I've got everything coordinated. Speaking of chess 960, there's all sorts of forks and nasty things. And my bishop's bringing down on c3, or whatever that is, f3. It's the Freudian thing, c3. We get the tripled pawns on him. We can inflict tripled pawns. I don't really see anything better here. That looks like the best we can do. I mean, I might not have time to take on a2 because he can defend with g3. Anyway, he's not giving me the option to take there. Now rook takes f4. Rook takes f4 doesn't really do anything. But I'm threatening to win a pawn in that instance. Rook takes f4 first. Where does his knight go? After rook takes f4. He can defend with something silly like knight e1. I don't know. I'm down a pawn, but his pawns are so weak that we should be fine. But I guess I'm not really better anymore. Not sure if I'm better at all. I was banking on this move. Okay. I mean, it's probably a draw, honestly. Looks like a draw. I don't really know how I can make progress. But maybe we can find a way. I think he's going to have to play. Let's see. Could we put him into Zugzwang here? There's no real Zugzwang. Maybe there is. Rook e1, rook c3, rook e3, h4, rook takes, pawn takes, king e3. Rook takes, pawn takes, king e3. That's weird. It almost looks like I have some kind of mate or something, but there isn't. Now I'm slightly worse. I took the draw, but I'm slightly worse. Okay, there's an active defense for me that I didn't see. Rook d6. I can play, this is sort of a weird to call it an active defense, but I can play king f7 because after this, rook here. And that probably is a draw. I don't know if I would have found it or not. But anyway, interesting game. Looks like I was better, but I don't think World Loser was ever clearly lost. Has this opening ever been played? Not in the master database. I still think that black has pretty good compensation in this position. Half a pawn according to the computer. That's probably fair. But I think a lot of people aren't really comfortable, you know, playing where the other guy has a little bit of an initiative. World Loser probably one of those. He doesn't really prefer defending to playing for the initiative. It looks like I was really better at one point. Alright, Juicebox Wizard, Arsenal Fan, and Havgar are subscribers. So I'm gonna... We'll play Juicebox Wizard, and then I'll play back to the subscribers. I want to occasionally let these guys who aren't subscribers play, not to be like totally discriminatory. Juicebox Wizard getting with the spirit here. Knight a3. I wouldn't go that far, but it's probably playable. I don't think it's an absurd move. It's almost absurd. I played Knight h3 in a tournament game that I've alluded to on many occasions. But Knight a3 can't be that bad. I'm sure that Jack Young, he was an author of a chess column called Bozo's Chess Emporium. I think that Jack Young probably would be able to tell you what this is called. You think Naka won a nice game with Knight a3? Wouldn't surprise me. It's not that bad. I mean, modern chess has really, you know, showed how much it is okay to play moves like Knight a6, Knight h6, in many cases in the opening. And Alekine's defense now, with Knight on a3. That looks a little suspicious to me. I have no inclination to take the knight on a3 whatsoever. My bishop is more valuable. Having said that, you could do it, and then try to play like a totally structural Nimzovichian type of thing. So yeah, this piece is going to create some problems, I think, for white, you know, in an Alekine's defense scenario. Probably not optimal. His knights could even be fighting over like the c2 square. I don't know, that's probably a minor consideration though. d5 c4 is one variation. Knight f6, just simply developing a piece. And we can play that as a default move. I mean, there's something totally okay about this. This has got to be a good move. You'd happily give up the knight on a3 if it gets a bishop on b2 with no opposition. Interesting. Other people would be thinking about the file for the rook. But Arsenal fan pointing to the potential on the long diagonal, the bishop on b2. You know, I'm amazed when I play e4 knight h6 with black in blitz, an opening that I've really messed around with a lot. I'm really shocked when I see like IMs and stuff playing bishop takes h6 on move 3 very often. I mean, I wouldn't even consider it. f3 is an extremely risky move. Not developing the pieces, attacking the head of the pawn chain, exactly what Nuzevich said, like, probably wasn't right. Now he's threatened with very serious challenges here. It's a bad Alekhines defense, or Alyokhin for white. But Naka should do a disclaimer with moves like knight a3. Don't try this at home. It's not that bad, but it's the other moves that have created problems for Juicebox Wizard. Like, he's pushing the envelope. Knight a3 itself is like risky enough, but to try to combine it with playing the Alekhines defense is just asking a little bit too much of one's position, I think. But maybe it's not that bad. I regret my last move. I think I should play bishop d6 instead. You could also play, yeah, I regret bishop g4. I don't think this was best. This was a bad move. Too hasty, I should take my time. We've got a long time control here, 7+3. Bishop g4, definitely not best. And then bishop d6 walks into knight b5. Well, that's the point, though. You know, I was saying how I should play bishop d6, but maybe it's like walking into this, ironically. That might actually come in handy for white. That's irritating. So in order to avoid knight b5, I have to play some silly move like c6. Although in this type of structure, probably not that bad. What else can we do? Oh, I know. You can go Emery Tate style. Queen f6. Very primitive. I just joke about Emery Tate because he used to do like Queen f3 very early against everything. Like the Alekhines defense, the Najdorf. Occasionally I've played that. I liked Emery's weird ideas in the opening. d4 cuts out any nonsense with bishop takes a3. But it leaves e4 permanently weakened. Do I have bishop b4 check here? Ooh, bishop b4 check. Pretty strange stuff. Like, trying to win a pawn may actually be a bad idea for me. Bishop b4 check c3. Knight takes c3, b takes c3. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? No, bishop takes a3, b takes a3, knight takes c3. He's got counterplay with strange moves like queen b3. I think I just need to develop my pieces now. Maybe even knight c6. I feel like I'm playing the Petrov's defense now. It's a really demented Petrov. I don't know. The only thing that's kept him alive is this knight b5 idea. Because I wanted to play bishop d6 so badly, but he just goes knight to b5. And then it's just pointless. But I think, again, I really feel like I went down the wrong path with bishop g4. You could go psychopathic with g5 if you want to. But I guess d3 is an effective answer there. Castling queenside is an option. I feel like my queen is in a my king is in a vulnerable area with that. Bishop d6, knight b5. Maybe I just castle here. Do we have time for any tactics? Bishop d6, knight b5, bishop takes f3. He just takes on d6 with check. Prophylaxis against the knight on a3. I think it's worth it. Because it's so disrupting everything I want to do. And absolutely the best move by white now, c4. But I guess it's not absolutely the best move. Alright. He's got some issues. It was the most natural move. Now he has to play king takes. And he's playing like my teammate, Pro Rock Martin. He's an absolutely insane maniac who plays the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Artsy, we call him. He wins some of the sickest positions I've ever imagined. Just tactics, no positional understanding, no endgame technique, but he's just awesome tactically. This guy on my team. And he plays like this guy is in the opening. He just makes up bizarre gambits that look totally unsound all the time. I'm reverting to, actually the scary thing is how fast Juicebox Wizard is playing too. He's supposed to be 1400, but he seems pretty good for that. The time usage is devastating. I can't even think. No time for me to think at all. Alright, let's just bring more pieces into the game, I guess. I'm not sure if this is even good. I'm letting him trade off my bishop on b4. But I'm getting low on time. I think, I think this this position is okay for white. I let him slip away somehow. I'm not sure I ever had him, beaten, but I mean, this is crazy. Bishop e4 check. Maybe that's even a bad move. I should have just left his king there. This is my bad. Bishop e4 check was a bad move. It didn't really achieve anything. Okay, I did develop my pieces, but I think he should take that piece. Bishop a5, b4. Yeah. Even if he gets b4, he's only weakening his own king side, or whatever you want to call it. I feel like we're playing chess 960. But I mean, for 1400, this is crazy. Extremely strong for 1400. Everything is working here for white. He's just gonna kill me. Okay, I'm not sure if he needs to do that move. Rook takes f3. Pawn takes, bishop takes. He might even have like rook f1. I think b4 weakens his king position. Still don't think I'm threatening anything. Okay, rook takes f3 is just a simplification. I'm threatening to win a pawn, maybe. I don't see any sacrifices yet. Knight on c2 is just holding everything together. I mean, I guess I have compensation, but it just defends everything. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm threatening to win a pawn back here. I could have done rook takes f3 last move, and I looked at it, I was unconvinced. Queen d3. There's nothing better than just taking my pawn back. And that's, again, like pretty unconvincing. Maybe now we start to have some kind of tactics on the pawn chain. But even now I'm not convinced. You got everything bearing down on his pawn chain. I don't know, I guess he was just defending and trying to threaten a6. 2 minutes. I'm always amazed by people who can play faster when they have a bad position. You know, for me, like, when I get a bad position, I need more time. And when I have a good position, I can play faster. But Juicebox Wizard has been under pressure, but he's just been playing fast anyway. I tend to think a lot when I have a bad game. I mean, I guess he wasn't that bad, but still, it's like easier to play when you're not, you know, under the gun, and facing a lot of tactics and whatnot. Rook takes c3, knight takes c3 doesn't work. Let's just play fast now. I can't even have time to calculate properly. Wow. Does he play a lot of bullet chess? Just 170 games. He's 1100 in bullet. Jesus. How could you be 1100 in bullet, man? 1100 in bullet would have been dead 10 moves ago. He would have missed something obvious. Too good for that. And the time pressure he's putting me under. I mean, maybe I'm always thinking too much. You know, this is one of my problems in tournament games. I kind of think in circles and waste a lot of time. Just learn to be more practical. But I just don't have anything concrete here. I'm starting to think like technically about this position. This guy is not 1100. I mean, there's just no way. I'm slightly worse. I might be slightly worse here. Okay, it's kind of sharp, but I'm not better. I don't feel like I'm better. Typical 1100 maneuver. Oh, he dropped the pawn finally. Whoa. Good maneuver, but he missed something tactically. It only took 27 moves for White to make a mistake. That's going to be fatal if I don't lose on time. If it was 2-second increment, I would like your chances, but here, unless I miss something again, I've got to be very, very careful. We should be winning 2 pawns up in an ending. I just could have won a piece, but I was so worried about losing on time. I'm not playing any bullet or anything, so I'm just so concerned about like losing on time that I miss winning a piece. I need to play more sudden death. It's also early in the morning, and I'm used to the nice pace of 3-second increment. Man, Juicebox Wizard, you played like an 1800 player, you know? I mean, the opening was bad, but the computer's giving me like a huge advantage here. Okay, show me how to win, computer. Show me the easy win. Where's the easy win here? Bishop takes a3. We'd always thought I was better. I'm like a pawn down. Not really that confident I'm better. He defended really well. b4 was risky. Now it wants to win a pawn with bishop takes f3. I don't know why. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Yeah, so the computer sort of thinks I played okay, I guess, and that I was always slightly better, but I didn't feel confident at all there. Arsenal fan and Havgar are subscribers, so I'm going to play those guys. That was a good game, man. I mean, for your rating level, I know the opening is a ridiculous opening, you know, so you're handicapping yourself with a bad opening on purpose, and then you're basically holding on against a player like 1,000 points higher anyway. I don't think I missed any like crushing moves, you know. I definitely had tons of improvements, but I didn't miss any like one move killers. All right, Arsenal fan, what are we gonna do here? What are we gonna do? You played d4. I played the Dutch earlier. Let's try for something interesting. No, I don't know. I don't really think I played the most accurate. The most accurate. I didn't like bishop g4 right out of the gate. I felt like I should do something different. The bishop d6. But it was weird, you know. I have to probably take time to play something like c6 to prepare bishop d6, and then I was afraid he would break my center with c4. It's easy to look at the engine and say, oh wow, this is great, but let's play the Budapest defense. My home location. It's a fun opening. You know, don't play it while under the use, you know, under the influence of recreational marijuana in tournament play. My experience, not a good idea, unless you want to lose to someone that you would never normally lose to. But at home, it's another story. One time I lost to this guy, Yuli Kolodkin. It was this player who was like a 2000 player who I never lost to in like 10 games in my life, playing the Budapest Gambit. It's also good to have a solid understanding of an opening before you go out and play it in a tournament situation, I think. Okay, if you're just playing for fun, you don't care about your rating and whatever. And earlier against with Soltigo, I think I was recommending bishop f4. I strongly believe in bishop f4 being the best move for white. But knight f3, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I've also played it on occasion. I talked about Shereshevsky. This is the opening where black goes a5 and rook a6. Benetekers, no, I don't use any drugs, you know, but it's like Bill Clinton, you know. We're not gonna talk about the past. All right, e3, a5. Not to say I haven't ever tried it. I'm not a recreational drug user at this time. e3, Bishop c5. Not a5 right away. We have to develop our pieces. Yeah, Marius, this is the system with a5, rook a6, and rook h6 ideas. It's not that big a deal, but if white's like a weak player, they might come under some kind of strong attack in those lines. I went over a game that Soltigo played with our subscriber stream last week, where he got into that kind of position with white. He actually played really, really well. I think the important thing about these positions is the pawn structure. In particular, like d5 being under white's control. Black doesn't have a central pawn, and that lessens his ability to control the center effectively. All right. I think this is the way that, you know, this is a standard order of moves. I guess I can delay taking on e5, but then queen d5. Knight takes e5, queen d5 is always possible. Is coffee improving your chess quality? I think so, but it also causes panic attacks if you take it in large doses. If you have like 6 coffees during the game, I'll probably have like a panic attack or something. There definitely have been cases, like once against Enrico Saviano in the New York Open. I think I drank like 5 cups of coffee like right before the game and during the game. And I literally started having like a panic attack during the game because I had like overdosed on caffeine, and I was having like heart palpitations and stuff. Like, it wasn't a joke. I actually lost the game because I was having this panic attack, induced by probably like a number of factors, not eating enough, and drinking a lot of coffee. It actually caused me to lose the game. I had a really good position, but I couldn't relax and calm down. So definitely be careful with the coffee. Like 2 cups of coffee or something is fine, but if you start having like 3 or 4, it can get out of control. It's like the Seinfeld episode where like Kramer got like some kind of gift certificate to unlimited coffee, and he was like hyperactive all the time. It's definitely dangerous. All right. A3, not a super common move. I imagine we go with the flow with the A5 type of thing here. Laguna Beach Blade. You remind me of someone I know. Laguna Beach Babe. Is that a play on words? I don't think I've ever been to Laguna Beach. Alright, bishop e2, d6, queen e7, castles. What do we want to do? The d6 move looks fine, but it would cut off my bishop, so I think castling is more normal. I was talking about the idea of delaying castling or castling opposite sides to create imbalance in chess. That's obviously appropriate here. Anytime I play d6, I have to be really careful about my bishop, you know, getting hung out to dry on c5. So rook e8 looks like a normal move. Kind of keeping our options open. Oh, Dota 2, okay. Castles rook e8, and the bishop waits. This bishop, it can go back to a7, but I don't want to block my rook a6 maneuver, and the bishop back to f8 is like a default passive retreat. Now we go d6, right? Drop a piece. Doesn't drop a piece immediately, but it may have problems. d6 f4. Speaking of sacrifices, d6 f4, queen h4 h3, queen g3 looks like it's not enough for me. I'm just like losing a piece. That's how I lost, ironically, in the game I was talking about. I got into some kind of crazy, insane, you know, thing where I sacked a piece on like h2 for not enough material. Exactly what happened to me the one game I played the Budapest Gambit. Totally drug-induced piece sacrifice. And it looks like we could easily do the same thing here. Knight takes h2, king takes h2, queen h4 check, king g1 with absolutely nothing. Of course, I've got rook a6 at some point. That might be interesting. But I still just don't think it's enough. Rook a6. We're just not in time. Really looks good for white now. So d6 f4, that's the problem. We just come undone in this position. There's nothing there. Just sticks his knight on d4 and there's nothing I can do. What the heck? h5, anyone? I mean, h5 is just totally va-banque. Maybe I have to play like knight f6 here. I don't really see another option, you know. I've got to go home. And, well, the first thing that we learned from this, not being like a regular in the Budapest Gambit, is that I should probably trade the knights on f3 to exchange one set of pieces there. I should have probably made an exchange. Bishop a7 is interesting. He can play knight takes a5. So I guess I'm headed back this way. So much for the rook a6 transfer. Well, maybe it's not totally gone yet, but it will be. But again, we're in very bad time pressure. I don't think it's a good move, knight b3. It doesn't look right. But he achieves something, driving my bishop back. Okay. Yeah. Excessive use of caps. Knight f6 is definitely the cut your losses move. Queen c2. Arsenal fan plays super fast. Now we've got to decide where to put our white squared bishop. There's something to be said for for b6, bishop b7 as well. Definitely kind of non-standard. When in doubt, just try to turn it into the King's Indian. That's what I do with every opening. I turn the Bogo Indian into the King's Indian by retreating my bishop back to f8. Very subtle. Subtle Tigo. He instantly played knight c5. Instantly. What did he do? Just I should have sacked my queen like subtle Tigo. It's kind of a weird situation if he takes that pawn. He's going to be paralyzed there for a while. I have to say that I just didn't see knight to c5, of course. In advance, obviously. He can't take on b7. Now he goes there. I think we're okay with trading a set of pieces here. And I really thought he should have gone for the pawn. Although it would have been very precarious for white. He's definitely in a weird kind of precarious situation there. But he seems to understand the themes really well. This is a guy who always played e4 until the last month or so. I guess it's been like, what, 2 months you've been playing d4, Arsenal fan? He just like, so native to playing d4, like he played it all his life. It's really amazing making that kind of transition so fast. I guess he can play c5. I'll try to keep my structure together. Really good intuitive player, Arsenal fan. Wow. No idea if this is a good move or a bad idea. Just going with my King's Indian instincts here. My bishop's on d6. It's a King's Indian. Not quite. Again, I'm like always behind in the clock every single game. It's just unbelievable. It's become like an addiction, like I have to be in time pressure. Okay, unforced error. An unforced error by white. One thing that you see fairly often are unnecessary sacrifices. Soltigo guilty of this the other day. But I think I missed something here as well. Maybe not. Well, an unnecessary sacrifice and a miscalculation are different things, obviously. But he also just, I think he maybe just gets nervous, you know, like all of us do. And I just remember something I was talking about a while back. Reasons why people don't get into time pressure, okay? I lost a lot of games recently because of my own time pressure, but that's an interesting move. Reasons why people don't get into time pressure. I think one of the reasons why people don't get into time pressure is because they're afraid to get into time pressure. I'm not afraid to get into time pressure. I'm getting used to it. In fact, I'm almost like addicted to it, and it's very bad. So other people play quickly because they don't want to be in time pressure. One of the guys I played 100 games with here is this guy Constant Change, and he always played like super fast against me. But I figured out after a while that the reason why he played so fast, it felt like, you know, he just like desperately was afraid to be in time pressure. Yeah, we're just up a rook here, so it's all good. I missed nothing. Okay, I thought I missed knight takes f3. Good move. You know, let's check it out. I think that he just made an unnecessary sacrifice in a good position. Well, I don't know how good it is now, but it's just an unnecessary sacrifice. Balanced position with chances for both sides here, and Rich just sacks an exchange on d6. It's absolutely not necessary. Like g3, and it's anybody's game. So it's an unforced serving error. After that, it's easy. But earlier you had really interesting chances. I thought maybe you could take this pawn, but I may be wrong. That was the big question, you know, can you go out on a limb, literally, with knight takes a4 and try to take that pawn? According to the engine, I have chances now going back to the knight g4 plan, but that looks like the critical question for the game. I missed mate in 1. I had mate in 1. Oh my god. What? I had mate in 1 at the end? Yeah, mate in 1. What are you guys talking about? What do you mean I missed mate in 1? What are you guys talking about with the missed mate in 1? Dude, if I missed mate in 1, I think the computer would point it out, you know? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, I did? Lost force checkmate sequence? I missed mate in 1. Oh my god. Whoa. Oh shit. You're right. You know, it's funny. When I played Queen H4, you know, obviously I wasn't thinking about Queen E1 at all. You know, I mean, my only point was to attack H2, and then he played. I'm just so happy at this point that he gave me the exchange, and he has a bishop on E2. You know, so there's no back rank mates ever. The first thing is that I'm just so happy I'm on material. I don't care about Queen E1 check, and I might have glanced at it, but he was like, okay, bishop F1. But then he goes and plays bishop B5. I'm just so happy I'm winning. It's like +5 for me that I didn't even see the mate in 1. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't really, you know, play for you know, cheap mates in 1 and stuff. That's embarrassing, but it did not even occur to me to play Queen H4 to E1. You can tell I'm not like a tactical problem type of player. You told me active queen. I mean, I'm just happy I'm in a winning position, up like a piece, you know. I don't care about mate in 1. All right. So M Havgar, thanks for subscribing, guys. Thanks for pointing out mates in 1. I thought the computer would be harsher, giving me like double question marks or something if I didn't see a mate in 1. I thought there would be like a huge down spike in the analysis bar. But it was like a minor one. It was like, oh, question mark, you should have played mate in 1. Forced mating sequence lost. So Havgar and I, what am I thinking? Something interesting here. Plays the Nimzo with white. I was looking at something interesting recently. Another way of playing against the F3 Nimzo. But now it's escaped me what it was. Recently I saw another good way to play against the F3 Nimzo. What the hell was it? It's really strange. Now I cannot remember for the life of me. I saw a new idea and it just evaporated into my memory. That's weird. What the hell was it? I found a really interesting game recently. Wait a minute. Huh. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to just play what I normally play because I cannot remember. We've had this a couple times now. In the old days, they always played pawn takes pawn, but it's nothing special for black. It's like trying to play to equalize. This move revolutionizes this variation, and I think that black is at least equal. There have been a lot of games, though. I mean, it's not my idea. But I think F3 Nimzo has seen better days. It used to be, I think, one of the scariest lines. Looks like bishop E3 is a new move. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. Just developing a piece. I don't ever recall seeing this move, but it seems somewhat logical. Rook e8 maybe. Here I go with the time again. But I'm encountering a serious novelty in the opening. Maybe I should take on c4 now. What's the difference if I take on c4 now? Bishop takes, pawn takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, and white's okay there. The bishop on e3 defends against queen h4 check with bishop f2 type of ideas. So there's, speaking of queen h4, there's that element of, well, the element of, damn it, defense. Why can't I draw an arrow? All right, the element of defending the king, you know, to queen h4 type of threats. Against queen h4 type of threats. I could sack a piece with knight takes e4. Pawn takes e4, queen h4 check. But it's absolutely unsound. You guys might be like, why is he thinking for 2 minutes? This is a new position, you know, for me in the opening. I've looked at this variation quite a bit, but I never thought about bishop e3. Looks like a good move. I faced bishop g5 and c takes b5, I think, and e5. I don't know. I'm just going to choose moves at random, I guess. Defending my queen side looks kind of lame. I could play c4 maybe. I'm playing like the most obvious way you can play with black. It's a Benoni basically. Snake Benoni. An enhanced snake Benoni. Now you dislike black's position. He's like a human computer evaluation. Black is now slightly worse. Running out of drinks. Guys, tomorrow night is my subscriber stream. This one went by really fast. It's been a lot of tense games. Now I like black. Queen d2. It's like he's playing the same-ish King's Indian or something. Maybe I can maneuver my bishop back to d8 and to e7 and to f8 and eventually to g7. But queen d2 looks kind of routine to me. I mean, putting yourself in a pin with another piece doesn't feel right. I think you need to just, you're better off just developing your pieces. I guess knight e2 comes to mind, or bishop d3. Probably one of those two moves. You know, also interesting is king f2, artificially castling. It's like a Trompowsky idea. I seriously, well, he could castle queenside if he wants to. I think it's like castling queenside in the Benoni is pretty much insane. But you do see people occasionally try to pull it off. In blitz games, at least. Alright, I'm just tired of using too much time. The only reason I could see for queen d2 would be to try to castle queenside. I mean, it's not a horrible move. But another move that kind of self-pins you, you know. I mean, they could move over laterally, like in the Sicilian. Rook e8. Almost have some tactics here. Not quite. I've been known to find the odd knight takes d5 shot. I don't see it happening here right away. It's in the cards, maybe long term. Maybe not. He could just castle. He should just castle. There's no reason to do anything else. Yeah, I don't really want to give you that if I don't have to, especially with the knights now ready to just like recapture comfortably. We'll have to consult our friend Mitzis, the Latvian GM, plays the Snake Benoni. Not too many of those around, you know, guys who play the Snake Benoni on a Grandmaster level. I don't want to put my bishop on b7 pretty much ever in this type of structure. That bishop is probably okay on maybe like d7 or something, if I'm going to put it anywhere. It's always a problem. I mean, it's always a problem in the Benoni, in the King's Indian, in the Sicilian many times. We've got, you know, rook a7 type of Benoni maneuvers, but I've got to watch for b4, which would just crush my idea right away. He just blundered. Giving up his dark squared bishop is pretty catastrophic for white in this type of game. But he might still not be lost. That's not the bishop you want to give up. You want to give up the other bishop for sure. But I don't have any tactics. I just have to take the dark squared bishop and be happy that I got it. Got a good game. But you're still not dead, which is fortunate. B4 type of tricks almost look good, but not quite. And you know, I think we have time for one more game after this, guys. Yeah, Soltigo, I think you are obsessed with sacrificing your queen. Rich said, I think black should try for f5. Rich, yeah, I mean, playing f5 is like a normal Blumenfeld gambit structural break. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely keeping f5 as a very important option, but it weakens the king side, so you have to be super careful about when to play that kind of thing. Yeah, but in general, you're right. Now we have a really good endgame. Yeah, I definitely don't care if the queens are on the board here or not. And his attacking chances are seriously reduced as well. So even knight d7, just trading queens, looks good. My knight is bad on f6. It has nowhere to go. Here I can go into c5 or like e5. And he's not trading queens. Interesting. Understandable. Okay. There's our square. Got good control of the dark squares. We've got our rook a7 across type of plan. But Rich is right about f5 being a really important idea here. But more importantly, we've got dark square. Man, I think my mouse button is acting up again. We've got really strong dark square play. It's really not a good position once he trades the dark square bishop off on e3. So there's c4 check and then knight g4 or knight c4. Those are the two options. But it looks like he might have some play in this line. There's also the possibility of knight g6, but it's extremely passive. I've got to play knight g4. On paper it looks really good. I'm threatening knight e3. f5, knight e3, f6. g6. I could get mated. Now the Arsenal fan idea looks interesting. To go with the pawn sack here. But maybe a little bit over the top. I don't know. Hard to decide. It's risky, but it looks strong too. We'll try to play one more game after this. Hopefully it's a fast one. Nikola Chess challenging me to 7+3. Alright. We'll play Nikola Chess 7+3. H3. I see. Knight F6. Got nothing. Man, that's really awkward. Could sack a piece here with like H5. I'm gonna go with my original plan. I guess I'm just reverting to the bishop b7 idea I was joking about before, but now, I don't know. Whoa, he did that. I can't take on d5 because of tactics? Oh no. That was my whole plan. Taking on there. Now Havgar is just clearly better. The central pawns look monstrous. But maybe not so easy. I missed rook d1. I mean, I thought I was just taking the pawn on d5, but unless I want to be like Soltigo, I probably have to pass on that. It's alright. Fear not the central pawns. Joel Johnson. Like, fear no evil. See no evil. Hear no evil. Well, that's fine by me. Ultimate Benoni. What's going on here? Mega blockade. One more game after this. Whoa. He just simply defends everything. All right. I don't know what's going on in the final position. Interesting game. It looks like maybe it's a legitimate draw. Bishop a7. It's like really... You could play d6, apparently. but that's nothing special. So you went here. I'm winning. I didn't see it. Again, mate in one. The mate in one with the queen. I didn't see it. I had seconds. Oh man, that's brutal. Definitely wasn't planned. You went rook f3 the first time, or rook g3? Rook f3. All right. Good game. Nice fight. I'm gonna play Nikola chess. Last game for today, guys. Hey Paxim, thank you. I'm back streaming pretty much 6 days a week. Nikola chess. Unusual opening stream is supposed to be today. This game I forgot. You know, again I forgot last game. I played a normal opening, but at least we had a good game. It's supposed to be unusual openings today. So against Nikola chess, I'm gonna play the Dunst opening. Queen b6. I had like 4 seconds, and I didn't even, you know, have any plans about playing for mate. Of course, it's the farthest from my mind when I'm playing chess normally. My opponent proposes a take back. I think it was a mouse slip. Multivitamin. I forgot to take it this morning. Alright, so and then we transpose to a Verisov. This is actually not that unusual either. It used to be more unusual, but it seems like it's kind of trending. A couple of players like Jabava and Rapport playing a lot of Verisovs. This was an opening that was popular at the turn of like the turn of the 20th century, probably. Knight A8 is always a good move. I had a knight A8. Wait, when did I have knight A8? I didn't even have a knight on C7 or B6. But you had a plan to play knight A8? Alright, C6 is solid. F3. Playing for E4. I mean, maybe it's more usual to play like knight F3 here, I'm not sure. We could try to play some kind of gambit line. I'm wondering if like bishop F5 E4, pawn takes pawn, G4 is similar to the black Mardimer, right? Pawn takes pawn, G4. Let's give it a try. Weird openings. I mean, here we have different ways of playing a black Mardimer. I can just play queen d2. I guess. It's not a bad move. Just going for development. I was thinking about G4, but I felt like, okay, I don't have to play G4. I'd like to develop my pieces. Yeah, we're joking about Emery Tate and his passion for knight A8. If you're not an American chess player, you don't know this iconic African-American IM who was really known for his flamboyant personality. But he had this game with me where he was insisting that his knight A8 was triple exclam. It was kind of funny. And the drunker he got in the analysis session, the more he went from like just happy to draw to like I was totally winning. You know, it's just like his exaggeration. He used to exaggerate all these stories, and he had like a huge entourage of followers, like all these people who like worshipped him because of his like magnetic personality. And he was actually pretty sketchy, but really funny to hang out with. Anyway, we're always joking about his comment about knight A8 always being a good move. Anyways, Nikola chess playing very solid Sarawan style chess here with bishop F5 and H6. It looks a little bit passive for black, but why not? I think it's perfectly okay. Maybe I should decide just to take on E4 at some point. He stopped g4, g5, so this move is a really, really concrete defensive move. I'm gonna... Oh, you played knight a8 against me before, Arsenal fan. I'm thinking about castling queenside, but it's kind of a Scandinavian type of position. He's going to get some counterplay if I try to castle queenside. But I mean, I guess that's life, right? My other option is to take on e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes e4. And maybe just knight f3 or something. There's nothing special there, though. I don't see, like, maybe g4, bishop h7, then take on e4. But it just kind of weakens my king side. Alright, let's develop. I've also experimented with against the new queen d8 Scandinavian, doing this type of plan with e4, d5, pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, knight c3, queen d8. I've been playing a number of games. I've played a number of games with this idea of playing bishop g5 or bishop f4 and quick queenside castles. It's something I thought like looks natural. There's not that many games. It looks exactly like that. Okay, I can't really wait any longer. I mean, he's threatening this. Another nice arrow. Bishop b4 is what I'm trying to... My left mouse button, my right mouse button wouldn't work. But that's not allowed. So I think we're just releasing the tension here. We're going a pawn down in a fighting position. It's a black Mardemer, essentially. Opposite wing castling with compensation based on better development and space, I guess, and central pawn. I think we have legit, fairly legitimate compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Not more than enough, but it should be about enough to justify the pawn sacrifice. Now, just straight up development with knight f3 is okay. Leaving me with a jolly joker. The jolly joker is an unopposed bishop that can be quite powerful. Nicola Chess has probably heard that terminology before from a certain someone. I don't mind sacrificing a second pawn, so don't even think about it. Queen d5 or bishop takes f3 followed by queen d5. I'm more than happy to give you a second pawn. If you would like it, sir, help yourself. I'm not saying that it's correct, but it might be practically difficult for black to play, with no development, 2 pawns up, but white having like great development and bishop pair. Looks pretty dangerous to do something like take queen d5, forking my a2 and f3. I'm more than happy to sacrifice a second pawn, sir. At this point, there's no turning back. I was looking at other moves, like knight e2, but it's slow, to do knight e2. And maybe it's better. But his bishop's going to remain very strong in any case. When I play knight g3, bishop h7, let's say. Yeah, he went for queen d5. He's got lateral mobility with queen f5, so I think I'm just going to play king b1. Last game for today, guys. I'll be back tomorrow night with my subscriber stream. 2 pawns. 2 pawns for the materialist. I don't know. I mean, I definitely thought I had enough compensation for 1 pawn. And he decides not to take the second pawn. But his bishop remains a really annoying thorn in my side on e4 here. I guess bishop d3. And then he'll like win a real pawn on d4. So I just have to protect the f3 knight. That bishop on e4 is pissing me off. I mean, this isn't about just passively defending. I need to do something, and I can't play c4. He's castling queenside. Obviously, king a1 is an idea. Mobilizing all my pieces. When Nikola chess for 15.99, I mean, he's played every time. Maybe the last game wasn't so tough, but the first two games I had against him were really, really tough. Actually, the last game he played tough too. So another player who seems strong for his rating. Maybe we can get him on time. Another good move. That looks right. Hate to have to play b3, but I don't like knight c4 a whole lot. I have knight e5 here. Okay, that's strong. Be good to pay attention. I'm not playing e4 that often, so sometimes moves that are very natural to lifetime e4 players are like, I have to think about it for a little while. I would be much more used to playing the black side of this position in a Caro-Kann than playing the white side. I usually play the Panov against the Caro-Kann. That's the classic weak point on f7 that falls all the time. If you're not paying attention and you castle queenside in the mainline Caro-Kann. He just defended it, and maybe he's got some tactics. But I have knight f7, e5, pawn takes pawn, at the very least, with a good game. I guess I can probably just take his rook on d8 too, though. Or h8. He could sack in exchange. I guess that's what I'm saying with e5. But I was looking at just taking on e5 when he has to trade queens and rooks on d2, and then he's left suffering with his rook hanging on h8, and probably slightly worse. I mean, if Nikola, like, and players like him could simply, you know, override this tendency to make one move mistakes, you could improve dramatically. I'm not sure if there was a good way to defend g6. You know, worst comes to worst, you can play bishop g6. That would be what I would do, if it made sense tactically. However, it may have been bad as well, because of knight takes g6 and bishop g4. It looks like he's actually in a lot of trouble there. Maybe lost, or close to lost. So he found e5, and now I have to decide. Well, again, we've got the nasty threats though, don't we? The same thing I was talking about. So I think we just do it. We just take the lazy road here. Just take on e5. You could trade queens if you want to. But his king is actually out in rook g. Yeah, he's just not calculating. Nikola chess just lost major material from an interesting position. He's got bishop b4. Doesn't really do anything. I just play c3, and we're up a piece. Oh, easier said than done. All right, we're not up a piece, or we are up a piece. We're up a rook, right? We just need to save our rook. Good calculation by me there. I thought I could play c3. Excellent. Excellent. I also have bishop g4 check, probably annihilating him right away. But no, okay, there he has like f5, right? Well, we're still up a piece. It doesn't matter. It's all good. So anyway, but it would have been nice to have seen that I couldn't play c3. It's sort of stupid. That'll wrap it up for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Tomorrow night, in fact, tomorrow night is a subscriber stream. So let's just see what happened there. You know, how was the position out of the opening and stuff? Has anyone done this stupid gambit? Novelty. Wow. Everybody plays g4 here. Sigalchik. But it's interesting. Pawn takes, queen d2. The engine preferred just taking. I think it's quite interesting. We have some compensation. Another move is knight h3 I didn't think about. But another one of these, not quite enough compensation for the pawn deals. And black is slightly better. But he played knight b6. It's a blunder. So if you just hang on tough here, you're fine. Bishop d6, bishop e7. And black is slightly better, up a pawn. Alright guys, we will be back tomorrow with a subscriber stream in the evening. Thanks for joining me, and thanks to Ultigo for moderating. Really tough games today. Wasn't easy, and it went really, really fast because I thought a lot of the games were keeping me completely concentrated and focused. So the majority of you guys are playing super tough, and I think the stream helps, and obviously playing, you know, stronger players if you can is good for your game. I will see you. Yeah, it's kind of a Blackmore gambit, exactly. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye-bye.